Many of you may mistake her for a 25-year-old because of her maturity and many accomplishments already. She is a senior at Rosemount High School where she participates in Nordic skiing, theater, fire explorer, lieutenant, and she serves here on Sundays as a lead coach in the City Kids department. The words that would best describe her would be servant leader. I still remember the very first time Kim and I got to meet her. It was Serve Week of last year, and we were raising funds for Speed the Light and doing a bunch of Serve projects. The Serve project that night, it was cold, it was rainy, and we were wondering if any students were going to show up. Lo and behold, came the curly-headed, happy-go-lucky, big smile on her face girl, walked up to us and said, "Hey guys, it was my first Wednesday this week. I heard you guys are doing a Serve project tonight, raising some funds for a great foundation." Eventually, more students showed up, and we went to the Serve project that night, and it was clear and obvious that she was the hardest worker of them all. She was cleaning cobwebs and picking up goat poop with a big smile on her face. She really exemplifies Jesus, that Jesus didn't come to be served, but came to serve, and she does that every single day here at City Youth and within this church. So without further ado, will you join me in welcoming Melissa Huntley to the stage?
Hey guys, how are you guys tonight? All right, well, I'm Melissa Huntley, and I am a senior at Rosemount High School, and first off, I just want to thank Pastor Jordan and Pastor Josh for giving me this opportunity to come up in front of you guys. It's super awesome. We have some awesome pastors. Can we give it up for them? Like, come on. And I also want to shout out my parents. They're out there in the back. They're my number one supporters. We love them. And so tonight, I felt like God really put on my heart to speak to you guys about baptism. About a week ago, I didn't know what I was talking about, and then NYC came and God was like, "Melissa, you need to talk on baptism." And I was like, "Oh, okay, well, we'll see how that goes." But so anyways, what Southland says here about baptism is that it's an outer declaration of an inner transformation, and in the Bible it says that you go from an old creation to a new creation. And so I want to first off pull from the Bible Romans chapter 6 verse 4, and it says, "When we were baptized, we died and were buried with Christ. We were baptized so that we could live a new life as Christ was raised to life by the glory of God the Father." And so that's the verse I'm going to be going off tonight. So that was basically just going over, if you didn't catch it and you're a little zoned out, don't worry. It was just basically talking about how there's an old you become baptized, and there's a new you. So the best thing about Southland is that you get to pick like 3 words from your old self and 3 words for your new self, and you get to put it on a sign, and you get to show everybody when you get baptized. And so I'm actually, I just got baptized last May, I think so. I think that's what it was. And so I just want to go over the words and why I put those words on my board at that point in time in my life. And so when I was walking to Baptism Sunday, I was like, "Oh, cool, Baptism Sunday." And little did I know that God was going to be like, Melissa, you see those people up here? Yep. You going to do that too. And I was like, "Oh, well, okay, I'll just go back here and talk to Pastor Jordan." And I was like, "Hey, Jordan, can I get baptized today? Is it a little late?" And he goes, No. Come here and get this sign done for you. And I sat down, and they were like, "Yeah, now you got to think of 3 words." And I was like, "I'm not good with words." Okay, here we go. Okay. The first word God gave me was hurt. And for the past year of before I was baptized, I actually had experienced my 5th concussion. And I was taken out of a lot of opportunities in my life by these concussions. And I was really mad at God that he allowed me to get a 5th one. And it was very taxing on my attitude towards God, and I was very angry with him. And so I put that word on my board, boom, hurt. And then the next word God gave me was lost. And I'm sure that all of you can think of a time in your life where you felt like you were like lost in your like sadness and anger. And during the past year before I got baptized, I had my grandmother pass away from a really ugly cancer. It was an unknown cancer. And seeing her go from polka dancing to, like, just completely not being able to talk to me in those last few days. It was just a lot, and I was very lost in my pain of my life. And I also felt like I got lost in the vision of my friends. I wanted to be the cool, funny girl. Yeah. And I cared more about their vision of me than I cared about God's vision of me. And that's where I really just lost myself in that. And so I wrote that word, lost. And then I couldn't think of a third word. I was like, they were like, come on, you got to think of a third word. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay. And then God would just spoke it to me loud and clear. He was like, rented. I was like, well, God, what does that mean? Explain it to me, please. And he was like, you've had your heart broken. You remember that boy that broke your heart. You remember that your grandmother was taken from this earth. Your heart was broken. And ever since that point in time, you've given parts of yourself away to people. You've given parts of yourself away to boys that didn't deserve it. You gave your parts of yourself away to people and friends that didn't deserve it. And you deserve to have those pieces back to you. And I didn't feel like the person that I was in my body. I felt like I was renting it out. And so I wrote that word. And as I sat there in the baptism room, I was like, I thought about it, and I said, I've been applying the thing that could fix my life, and I haven't been applying it, but I've been mad at it. I was mad at God that the things in my life weren't working out like I wanted them to. And I was using the things of this world that continued to disappoint me again and again, and tried to use them to fix the problems of my life when I was getting mad at the one thing that could fix the problem. And so, and tonight, I actually want to show you, throwing back to that day, my baptism video, and I just want you guys to take a look. So, I think we got it up. I was kind of a mess. I was a straight mess, guys. I'm not even, I won't even put it lightly. And I felt like God in that situation, he had to wreck me before he could fix me. And so, with my new self thinking about it, I put the first word on my board, and I said it was healed. And even though these injuries that I had experienced had taken me out of opportunities, I have been presented opportunities that I would have never have had the opportunity to. I'm standing in front of you guys today, and I don't think if I would have not experienced those 5 concussions, I don't think I would be standing in front of you guys. And so the next word I wrote was found. And I realized that I found myself in Christ and who I wanted to be, and not being ashamed of being a Christian. And I also looked at scripture and what God says about you about beauty, and every single one of you in this audience has judged yourself and spoken negative words to yourself. And I want to encourage you guys to know what God says, that you are beautifully and wonderfully made. Coming from one of your peers that struggles with this every day, I want you guys to tell yourselves that, because that's what you guys deserve. You guys are not in competition with one another. You're supposed to be helping each other out. And so my last word that I wrote on my board was owned. And I felt like on that day, God gave me pieces of myself back to me that I had given away. And he had taken those pieces and mended them into the heart that I have today. And my heart has grown for people here and people everywhere. And I think that that's what God did that day. And he gave me parts of myself back. And all of this healing and change would have not been possible if it wasn't for God. I would not be standing in front of you here today telling you about this if it wasn't all for God. And so if you're feeling right now, Baptism Sunday is next Sunday, and if you're feeling called right now, we have tons of leaders here tonight, and I want you guys, if you're feeling called, if God's talking to you right now and is like, hey, you see that up there? Yep, you need to do that. Please do it. You can be as last minute as I was, sitting in the 8:30 service being 9:45 service, she's getting baptized. That last minute, but also it was kind of stressful to think of the words, so don't do that. But I also want you guys to know that God takes what you've been through and what you're going through and turns it for the better. He makes you so much better that you don't even realize it. But I'm not saying that my life is easy now. I'm not saying that. God even says that you will go through trials and troubles to get to where I am. And so you will experience troubles. I'm not saying that once you get baptized, it's all happy, slappy, whatever. But those things that you go through, God can take those and turn it for the better. And so, and just when you think that it can get the best that it can be, it just gets better. So, thanks, guys. I would like to welcome our next speaker, and it's Nick.
Our second student speaker for the night is a senior at Randolph High School. He's a 3-sport athlete in football, basketball, and baseball. He also spends his free time here serving on Sundays in our city kids department. I've had the joy and privilege of being his gym teacher his freshman year of high school. At that time, a couple words that would describe him would be timid, fearful, and really his faith non-existent. It only took one invite his freshman year to City Youth to forever change his life. He is now one of the most confident and bold teenagers I know in his faith. I'm excited for you guys to hear his story of how he went from fearful to fearless. Without further ado, will you join me in welcoming Nick Drinkin to the stage tonight?
All right, it's on? All right, good. All right. Hey, y'all. I'm Nick, as you saw. I'm from Randolph High School, and I'm a senior this year, and I just want to shout out all my Randolph people out there. Y'all rock. I love y'all. Holy crap, I'm very nervous. Sorry about that. Still kind of sweating from worship a little bit. Before I start, I'd like to thank Pastor Jordan, Pastor Josh, and everybody else for giving me this amazing opportunity. And I didn't really believe that I deserved it, but you got to take advantage of your opportunities, right? So, Melissa, you did a great job, by the way. I'm gonna be looking down a little more than she did, but holy crap. Oh, yeah. All right. So, I've been going to City Youth since my freshman year, and I can still remember my first time. And so I was in school one day, and Pastor Josh was my gym teacher, and he was talking to me and Brett, and he was like, "Yo, we got this youth group, and it's really growing, and like, we need you guys there. Like, we need more students. It's just gonna keep God growing in this building." And I was like, "All right, sure, why not? Let's do it." And so me and Brett came, and we were at the Op Center at that time, and it was this really small room, like super small, like nothing like this. Like it was like a trap, and I don't even like remember like what was happening, but I just remember my mom driving us there, and we get there, and we were both like super scared to go inside, and we had to wait for Pastor Josh to come out and get us because like we didn't even know where the entrance was. Like that's how small this building was. Like I couldn't even tell you where it is today. So we get inside, and we start playing games, and immediately I felt out of place. And even though I claimed to be a Christian, like I didn't feel like God and I had a relationship. I didn't know that was a thing even. And so I just felt super out of place and like super awkward at the time. And like I was a super awkward dude. I still am. I'm pretty awkward sometimes. But like I'm getting better. But like this was a new level of awkwardness. Like you wouldn't even understand. Okay, so I was a pro at being awkward, right? Okay. And so I had zero confidence too. Like I played sports, but like I didn't feel like I was super good at it either. Like I came into the games like, whatever happens. I didn't really feel like I could be a leader in that whatnot. And but you did not want to see me around a basketball. That was just bad. And also I was super shy and like didn't want to talk to anybody. And I feel like Brett was the same way. And being an only child, it's easy to kind of be more solo and to yourself and not like have that many friends you can live without it because you're used to it at home. And it's pretty easy not worrying about talking to other people. And then my mom being in the back at that time didn't help either because like who wants their mom being there when you're with a bunch of like other teenagers? Like no. So I just remember being like, why the heck am I even here? Like, I don't belong here at all. And just question after question rolling through my mind, like, why is there pink lights? Like, what kind of church does that? Why are these people raising their hands? Like, it was so off. And, I'm zoning in and out in the services. Like, I don't even remember who was preaching. I don't even remember Pastor Jordan at the time. And so we kept coming, and after every service, I wanted to play more games like spike ball, but, never happened because you only play at the beginning. And but we would go to worship, and we wouldn't sing a single lyric. We didn't even want to, mouth the words. We just felt so out of place. And I know there's some people in here tonight that feel that same way, and let me just tell you, it's relieving when you finally start doing it. And but this is just how but this is just how I was. I was so stubborn to not wanting to let God in my life that it just kept happening, and I just kept coming and going through the motions. And Brett and I, we started lifting our hands, but, only when Pastor Jordan or Pastor Josh said to, because that's awkward. So weeks kept going by, and we would solemnly, we'd start singing a few words, or at least mouthing them, and then a few more people started coming, and Brett, so it was Brett, Grace Taylor, Andrea Spleakle, and Meredith Taylor, and then my main man, Jack Roberge. So we all started going together, and just want to say thanks to Jack, because he's always been there for me, and he's like the most faithful man you could ever find. So ladies, hit him up. He's single, by the way. So I think during that time, though, me and Brett, we kind of took a few steps back, even though we weren't at any higher points. We just started being even more held back, and we kept growing, I guess, after that, and eventually became more comfortable and started singing, and we started singing every word, every song, and started trying to be more in our faith, I guess, until one night Pastor Jordan was speaking on, he said, "Are you owning your faith, or are you just renting it out?" And that really hit me, and I say that's probably my turning point in my journey through this whole thing. It really hit me that, I'm just renting it, going through the motions, and not, Wednesday and Sunday I'd be fine because I'd be here, but, every other day of the week is is it really part of my life? Not really. And so from there on, I started constantly trying to be a better person so that I consider myself owning my faith. And it brought out confidence, it brought out determination, and it brought out more qualities in which I can say that I possess today that I would have never been able to. And that's why I really love City Youth, because I feel like when you get here, you can be yourself, and it doesn't matter what everybody else is thinking. It doesn't matter, the person behind you during worship, they don't care if you're raising your hands. They don't care at all. Only God does, and that's why I love City Youth. And so weeks went by, and I decided to go on NYC, and it was absolutely life-changing. You heard that story a little bit ago. But so then after that, I started inviting people, and we started getting this whole Randolph group, and it grew right away, and it was really cool. And some of y'all are still here today, so that's even cooler. And I just wanted what was being done with my life to start spreading it throughout my school, and because it was just a bad place. There's a lot of hate in the school, and I didn't want that anymore. And I wanted all my peers and friends to start experience what I experienced, and I gained confidence through that like never before too. And but you know what? It didn't just happen overnight. It took a lot of work. It took coming to Wednesdays and Sundays and trying to go home and read the Bible every night and listening to worship music before you go to bed and just giving yourself to God at every chance that you can get. And it didn't just come with a snap of fingers. It took a long time. I've been going here since my freshman year, and God's still doing stuff in my life. When Pastor Jordan was talking up here, that hit me too. We're all the same here, and we got to start stepping out in our faith. We got to start taking that step of confidence, inviting more people here, because they deserve the same thing that's happening to us to happen to them. Because we need our schools to be better. this world really needs us, guys. Like, they really do. They need us to start stepping out and just making it a better place. And so if you're in here tonight and you feel like, I don't belong here. All these people love Jesus, and I'm just like, I don't really feel it. Like, that seems like a big time commitment, and you're not comfortable raising your hands. Let me just tell you, like, it'll change your life. Nobody's judging you. All right, so here's my Bible verse, kind of a bad transition, but if you got your Bibles, pull up the book. John 10, verse 10, it says, where does it say? Oh, a thief comes only to rob, kill, and destroy. I came so everyone would have life and have it fully. God came down to the earth and sent his son so that we could live, guys. He sent his son so that we could live. His son died on the cross so that we could live. And he died so that we could live the best life possible. And we really need to take that into account, that we can live a better life because he's giving it to us. We're already on this earth, and that's enough of a gift as it is. And we need to start living like that. And so next, turn to 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7. It says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear and timidity, but of power, love, and self-control." I was living with a life full of timidity, but it was time that I stepped out. That little invite from Pastor Josh, changed my world forever. It changed my life forever. And it's time that we start using God's gift that he gave us and step out. And that just leads me to tonight's bottom line. And that is, if you don't step out, then you're going to have to be okay with just being okay. Yeah, if you didn't catch that, like my man Jack, if you don't step out, then you're going to have to be okay with just being okay. We need to start living this above life average that Christ has gifted us. Let's take a step. Let's take it together. I'll be here with y'all. God's here with us. Let's invite our friends. Let's worship God like no other. Let's give it all to continually become better people and keep going on our own journeys with God. And let's just live in a better world and make it a better world. This generation, we have the power to change it. And God knows that too. And we just need to start taking steps. So yeah, that's all I got. We need to live the best life, though. Thanks, y'all. Here's the next speaker. You got it.
Our final speaker tonight is someone that I have known since she was in 7th grade. I'll never forget, while coaching at Lakeville South, looking across the gymnasium and seeing this little tiny girl who would just electrify the entire crowd. Anybody that knows her would understand and agree with me when I say she might be small, but she has the biggest personality. Not only does she have a big personality, this girl has some dance moves you have never seen, ever. But knowing her now for almost 3 years and going through life and watching her experience some of the challenges and obstacles that have come her way, you will understand that she is a fighter and she never gives up. And so, City Youth, will you welcome to the stage tonight, Kelsey Coles.
Okay, it's working. Okay. Hi guys, I'm Kelsey Coles. I am a 10th grader at Lakeville South High School. Yeah, okay. I just want to shout out Melissa and Nick. You guys killed it. It's going to be kind of hard to follow. Also want to shout out Pastor Jordan and Pastor Josh for giving me this opportunity to speak to all of you tonight. I'm so excited to share a little bit about myself with all of you. And I also want to thank Pastor Jordan for continuing to invite me to church every single day. I'm not kidding you guys. I was just really stubborn. I was on his basketball team, and every Wednesday he'd be like, "Yo, Kelsey, we got City U tonight. Like, I better see you there." I'm like, "Oh, for sure, yeah. Like, catch me sitting in the front row." And then, like, every night I'd be like, "Yo, I can't make it tonight. Feeling a little under the weather. Not gonna be there." Every week I would make an excuse, but after many times of him trying to get me there, finally I'm here, and I've been coming to Southland now for like about a year and a half. I don't know, maybe that's not right. Okay, so I'm going to start, kind of give a little background. We're going way back. Just tell you a little bit about my journey and some of the things I've been through for the past few years and how God has just kind of got me through it. So when I was born, yeah, we're going way back. When I was born, I was immediately rushed into surgery. I was born with a heart defect. I had a leaky pulmonary heart valve, and for some of you that don't know what that is, it's just like my valve in my heart, it's like, it's not working good. It's not working good. So I needed to get that fixed, but I was too little to have open heart surgery, so I had a surgery. I had my ductus ligated. I got no idea what that means. My parents have told me like 100 times what it is. I still can't tell you. Like, I don't understand what it is. But I got a scar on my back. It's pretty sick. From that, I don't know what they did, but I don't know. Yeah. So then my second surgery, I was 3 years old, and I had the open heart surgery, and I had my pulmonary heart valve replaced. I have a cadaver, I believe is what it's called. It's a person's valve, so it's not mine. So I got that put in there, and I don't really remember a whole lot about it when I was little. Like, you know, when you're like looking through like photo albums, and then you're like, oh, like I remember that day, but like you don't really remember. You just like remember it from that picture. So that's kind of like how it is for me. When I was little, after I had this little scar, it was pretty little, it was pretty cute. I just loved it. Like, I loved to like show it off to people. Like at like kindergarten show and tell, I would like bring it in. I'd be like, yo, check out this scar. Like, what about it? I had this surgery. Like, I was just so proud of it. I called it my little Jesus mark. So I was pretty, I was pretty proud of it back then. But yeah, when I was back then, it never really bothered me. I never really had any issues with it. I had some yearly checkups, so every year I'd go in and I would get an echocardiogram. My mom made me write that down because I call it a jelly test. It's like an ultrasound for your heart. And when I tell you, it is the coldest gel you will ever feel. Like, they never think to like warm it. No, it is so cold. It is like ice cold. So they're like rubbing it on there, just making sure everything's good, and I just hated it. My parents would have to like hold me down. They're like, you need to do this, and I was like, why do I have to do this? And then, so I do that, and then later when I got older, I had to do an MRI. Those things are brutal too. Some of you probably in here probably done them. You're just like laying there still, and you like can't move, and then I'm like having to like hold my breath, and I'm just like in this tube by myself. I'm like, what is going on? So I had those. So after my open heart surgery, they said I have 2 to 7 years till my next surgery. And so, like, when I was little, it just, like, never really affected me. Like, I could run, I could jump, I could hoop, I could dance. Apparently, according to Jordan, I can dance. I could do all that. But when I was on Pastor Jordan's team in 8th grade, so on the 10th grade team, and I kind of started to slow down. It wasn't super bad at first, but like slowly I would like need to get a drink, and I'm like, take me out, I can't breathe. I'm sitting down, I'm drinking, and then I'm like, all right, I'm ready to go. Like, put me in. He's like, are you sure? Are you good? I'm like, put me in. Like, I'm ready to go. And then more and more when next year on the JV team, I was like, I would have to sit out for like several minutes because I just couldn't catch my breath, and I was like, I prayed that it wasn't the deal that I had to get surgery again, but I went in for my yearly checkup. I had an MRI, and they told me that I needed surgery. And I like could be dramatic and be like, yeah, my like world stopped when they said those words, and I like, you need open heart surgery. But like at first, I was kind of like, okay, like surgery, cool. Like I get some time off school, I get to like chill in the hospital, get some room service. But I just didn't really understand how like greatly this would impact like me and my family and my friends. And so I remember the morning of the surgery, Michaela and I, my older sister, she's the best, I love her. We rode to the hospital together. It was just me and her. We had a little Hannah Montana throwback karaoke going. We always do that. It just kind of calmed my nerves. So we were jamming, and then she wheeled me into the hospital, and that's when kind of like the nerves started, the butterflies in the stomach. I was like, oh, I don't know what's going on. Like, I've never done this before. And I remember when I walked in, I was wheeled in, I looked to my left and I saw this little shop, and it like had all these cool stuffed animals, and I was like, I need every single one of those stuffed animals. And it was like for no reason at all, I just wanted them. That's why I have this little thing. I'm not crazy. It's just what it's from. Pastor Jordan and Rachel, they gave me this. And, like, when I tell you, like, when someone would, like, walk in, like, I'd be so excited to see them. Like, visitors, like, I got a few of them. But, like, it was just the biggest deal when I got someone to walk in. And I remember I was, my mom told me that they were coming. I was so excited. Like, I tried, like, staying up. And they had this sleeping medicine. And I was, like, I'd, like, pass out. I'd be like, oh, are they here yet? Are they here yet? And then they finally got there. I was like half asleep, and they gave me a stuffed animal, and I was like, oh my gosh, I freaked out. And then like 2 seconds later, like I passed out, and they took a picture, and we still have the picture. And I'm in there, I'm just like that, and they're like both like crowding around me. So I wish I should have photoed up. You can ask me after, I'll show you. It's pretty epic. And then, so when we were walking in, and then we were my family and I, we were praying the whole time. I was so beyond nervous, it wasn't even funny, but then I got on some medicine. I was pretty chill. I was like, okay, like surgery. I was good, but my family was more who went through the harder times, like having to give me away and my life put in the hands of the doctors and surgeons, and so they had to wait in the waiting room for hours. But eventually, I came out, and I was all good, and it all went perfectly. I remember waking up in a lot of pain, and I was super thirsty. I was like, give me some water. I was like yelling at these nurses, like, get me some water. I am so thirsty. And I woke up, and I was like, all right, I got to go to the bathroom. They're like, oh, no, you don't, know. And then I was like, what the heck? I couldn't go to the bathroom by myself. I woke up, I had these chest tubes, and they're like these little tubes inside you, and it's like this draining fluid. It's disgusting. It is disgusting. So I was like little hunched granny. Like everywhere I go, I was just kind of like little hunched. And my chest was sore. And it was rough. And so I wanted to get these stupid chest tubes out of my stomach. Because every day once I could finally walk, I'd have to walk to the bathroom and kind of hold them myself. But then eventually I got a cool little fanny pack. I was like, showing it off. Then I held them in there. But so I think a few days after the surgery, I was still chilling in the hospital, and this lady walks in, and she was just kind of really in a hurry. She's like, okay, we're gonna get this going. And she looked at me, and she's like, all right, is that the bandage? She goes examining it, and then boom, she rips off the bandage. And I had never seen this scar before, so I looked down, and I'm like, oh my God. I had a complete panic attack. It was red, it was bloody, and I was like, whoa. And then she's just like, okay. And she's like, peace. And she walked out, and I was like, I never want to see your face again. She was so mean, and whatever. And so then a few days later, I was like, okay, I need to get these chest tubes out. I would breathe in and breathe out, and these chest tubes, they'd be and they would suction. I don't even know how to explain it. You can't even really explain it unless you've been through it. But my little boy Jaden would know what it's like. So I wanted these chest tubes out because then I could shower, and I was so gross, and I stunk. And when people came to visit me, they'd hug me, and they're like, oh, they probably didn't do that. But my God, that's in my head, that's what they did. So I need to get these chest tubes out. So they're like, okay, we'll get them out today, whatever. And so I'm like, okay, cool, when are they coming in? And this same lady walks in the door. I'm like, no, you better get your butt out of here. You are not touching me again. I am not vibing with you right now. You need to go. And she's like, Mom's like, Kelsey, if you want to get these out, this is who's gonna have to do it. I'm like, no, I don't care. Get her out. So she walks up to me, and she's like, I heard we want to get these chest tubes out today. I'm like, And so I'd never done this before. Well, I had, but I was 3. I don't remember it. And I wanted to get these chest tubes out. And so she's like, okay, take a deep breath. I'm like, okay, cool. She's getting me to relax. And I go, and this lady starts pulling. She starts pulling. She's pulling these tubes out. She's pulling. She does not stop. I swear, 3 minutes go by, she's still pulling, and it's just these tubes, and it's this never-ending 2 things of tubes, and she's just going like this, and I swear it was so long, and afterwards I just looked at her, I go, are you kidding me right now, girl? Where's that womanhood at? And then she's like, okay, bye, good job. I was like, oh, I had some beef with her, let's just say that. But so then I got out of the hospital in 5 days, and it was pretty good. Besides that lady, I had a pretty good time in there. But the hospital food was not good. That was probably another downfall. But my family stayed with me every night. My sister, hardworking college student, slept over every night. even when she probably needed to go back to college. And my little siblings, they stayed with me, and my mom never let go of my hand. But after I left the hospital, I got used to the scar, but like not really used to like people staring at it. Like if you see something different, you're gonna look at it, like your eyes go to it, like I get that. But like it just, I don't know why it bothered me so much. Like just wish I could like flash back to like little me, just like walking around with it all. But like at the time, it just bothered me. But God put it in my heart tonight to tell you that all scars tell a story. And some of you in this room may have some physical or mental scars, some cuts on the wrist, or maybe you're mentally scarred from one of those things you've seen gone back at home. And I don't know what it is tonight, but if it's a scar, it's brought you to God. And I heard my sister showed me this song. It's called Scars by I Am They. It's kind of like my jam. I'm like, yeah, I swear this is like wrote about me. It's one of these lyrics. I'm not going to sing it. We'll leave that to Rachel. I'm an awful singer. Can dance a little bit, but not sing. So it goes, so I'm thankful for the scars because without them, I wouldn't know your heart. And like when I get like those little looks from like other people, I'd be like wanting to like square up with them, you know? But I just like play that in my head. I'm like, okay, like I'm God. And it just is what brought me and you. It's what brought us to God. These scars is what brought us to God. And I want to talk about my boy Job in the Bible. It talks about how he never did anything to deserve all this affliction happening in his life. But not once did he curse God. And Job at one point lost everything, but in return he got everything. And I was like, now what does this mean? And I was like, guys, I've tried to blame God for things that have happened in my life. Like, why does this all have to happen to me? Why do I have to get weird looks when I wear a bathing suit? Or why did my mom have to go to rehab for 2 years while I'm trying to get through this heart surgery? Or why did my parents have to get a divorce? But this got me nowhere. Blaming him and pointing fingers, it's not going to change anything. It's when you lean on him and you go to him. And I was thinking about when Job lost everything, in return he got everything. And I was like, everything, like what is that? And in this, going through my battle, I had felt like I had lost everything. But by trusting God and believing in him, I got everything. And it came clear to me that like it's not like winning the lottery, like everything you're not getting like that fat cash. It's everything is Jesus. And when you come to know him, that is your everything. And even though I might have had a broken heart, God has healed my heart, and he wants to do the same for each and every one of you tonight. And I don't know where I would be without the Lord, and it hurts my heart to know that some are in the same position because I was going through the worst time about a year ago in my life. And if any of you are going through that, I pray that God heals the pain, the brokenness, and the hurt, and the sourness off of all your hearts. And I just want to thank everyone here for being with me going through this. When I came to Southland, it just immediately felt like such a home to me. It just felt like you guys are my family. And I just want to thank you for all being with me and never leaving me through my battle. And that's just what God does. And I pray that you do the same for all my Southland squad. And I love you all.